Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're going to be talking about the Modern Horizons 3 Commander precons, and I'm going to be talking about mostly face commanders, two of the secondary commanders in here as well, because I think that this is potentially the kind of strongest face commanders we have seen in any commander products, excluding the, original kind of eminence ones. Those were pretty bonkers and stuff, but these ones are just crazy. Stella Lee as well was pretty strong, so I'll be very interested to see what kind of trend this kind of brings up, because Stella Lee was one of the cards that, like, as soon as we kind of saw her, everyone was like, this is a bonkers card, and there was multiple different ways to be able to go infinite with her. And the interesting thing here is with 3 of the 4 face commanders, you were able to go infinite as well. And then 2 of these secondary commanders, you have the option of, having them go infinite too. So let's get into it. Before we get into it though, Omo is the one that can't. Omo doesn't really have a way to be able to go infinite, but Satya can, Ulalek can, Disa can as well. And then there's 2 side commanders too. And make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of stuff to do with, commander and new products coming out, especially around the secret layers and stuff, kind of talking about the values of the secret layers and everything. So let's talk about Disa first. Disa's got a few ways for you to be able to go infinite with her, mostly around kind of the way you kind of discard everything and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. So essentially, because of the way she works, when you discard one of your Legoif cards, right, it is then going to bounce back onto the field. So from there, you can use Disa's ability. So let's take, for example, this one. So there's a few different ways that you can do it, mostly around kind of Cloud, Stone, Curio and stuff. You essentially need to have all of these 3 on the battlefield. You're going to have a non-token, non-artifact Legoif as well. And then you need 1 in your hand. So you need 2 Legoifs, 1 on the battlefield, 1 in your hand, and then have this set up. So it is like a little bit of a more complicated kind of infinite and stuff, but the way it works is, you discard your Legoif from your hand. That's going to trigger putting that Legoif back onto the battlefield. You then use Cloudstone Curio to bounce the Legoif, the other Legoif, back into your hand, and then you just keep doing that. So from there, you're going to get infinite black mana, infinite into ETBs, infinite LTBs, and infinite self-discard triggers, so you can discard, those Legoifs constantly. Anything that triggers off Legoifs, not Legoifs, anything that triggers off, creatures entering your graveyard, or whenever you discard a card or anything like that, is going to go really, really well with this. So Disa has a few different ways to be able to do this, mostly just around, replacing this 3rd card with a different card that discards and stuff, and then, just kind of cycling through those Legoifs constantly with Cloudstone Curio. So there's a lot of different ways that you can potentially do this. So I really like this. I think this is a very interesting one. Not, insanely strong as, one of the ones that we're going to get to later on, but this is a pretty decently nice kind of combo. The next one here is we've got Ulalek, and Ulalek plus Echoes of Eternity is insane. There are so many different ways to be able to do crazy things with this. Because of the way Ulalek works, when you cast an Eldrazi spell, you're going to pay 2 mana, and then you get to copy it. And then from there, you get to copy all your spells, all of your activated abilities, and all of your triggered abilities. So you're essentially copying the whole stack for yourself. So when you add in something like Echoes of Eternity, you're then going to get, more triggers as well. So there's just going to be a crazy amount of triggers. So with this one here, what you're going to be doing is having these 2 out on the battlefield. You cast your Writhing Chrysalis. It doesn't really have to be Writhing Chrysalis, as you can see here. Like, you can replace it with a whole bunch of other cards that are going to, create, basically, you want to create multiple Eldrazi spawns when they come into the battlefield. So with this one, you cast this, you then use Ulalek to pay the 2. You can sacrifice your Eldrazi spawns, pay those, and then you're going to be able to just keep cycling that through, slowly getting your Chrysalis up to be huge, because it's going to get a +1/+1 counter on it for each of your spawns that you sack. So you're going to have an insane amount of creature tokens out, an insane amount of +1/+1s on your Writhing Chrysalis here. Just it's because of the fact that it just copies the whole stack. You're just going to have so much stuff going on. Like in down here, +1/+1s, infinite copies of abilities you control, infinite creature tokens, infinite death triggers, infinite ETBs, infinite LTBs, and infinite sacrifice triggers. And as I said, all like with most, like so many different different Eldrazi that create spawn tokens or Scion tokens that you can then sack for mana and stuff. You're going to be able to do crazy amounts of stuff with him. Next on here is Satya, which is probably my favorite. There are a few different ways that you can make Satya go infinite, mostly around, Satya plus Medome, the Ageless. You just keep copying Medome, and then you get infinite turns, because whenever Medome deals damage to someone, you're going to get an extra turn after it, so you can just get infinite turns with that. But the one that I like the most is the Port Razor one. All you need is Satya on the battlefield and Port Razor, and then from there you just keep copying your Port Razor, keep doing it, infinite combat damage, infinite creatures entering the battlefield. You got infinite energy tokens, so there's so many ways for you to be able to buff up your energy tokens. You're just going to be able to do an insane amount of stuff with this. This is my probably favorite combo, and any Satya deck should have Port Razor in it, in my opinion. All right, next up, we got Jotai. So moving on to the secondary commanders, right? So not the face commanders, these are the secondary commanders that come in the command, like in the precons. You can use them instead of your face commanders. So Jotai here, you need to have Food Chain and Earthcraft on the battlefield and control at least one basic land. And then you need to be able to essentially cast your Jotai from the command zone. Oh, sorry, Jotai needs to be in the command zone. The other two need to be on the battlefield. So you're going to cast Jotai. That's going to trigger and create the Forest Dryad from there. You're then going to activate Earthcraft over here, tapping Jotai, untapping your basic land. Then you're going to activate the basic land, adding one, and then you just get to repeat steps 3 and 4, this, and tapping this, and activating that basic land. And for each of your Forest Dryads, then you activate Food Chain, exiling your Jotai, adding a whole bunch of 5 green mana, then choose to return Jotai from the command zone, etc. So you just get to continuously create commander, like bringing your commander in, creating a whole bunch of Forest Dryads. You've got a whole bunch of landfall triggers as well coming in because of the fact that the green Dryads are lands. You've got infinite LTB, and then you've got the infinite Stormcast, which isn't hugely important, but just being able to constantly, chain through Jotai back into the command zone, bring it back, create a whole bunch of Forest Dryads, and do it over and over again. Just do an insane amount of really cool stuff. All right, the next one here is Kaith. So this is the secondary commander for the energy precon, mostly focused around tokens instead of focused around, energy. But again, Kaith has a crazy amount of ways that you can make them go infinite with a whole bunch of different things. The main one I'm going to talk about here is just with, the simple Ashnods, Altar, and then a Persist creature. So let's switch over to a red Persist creature. All you're doing is taking Ashnods, sacking that Persist creature. The Persist creature dies, comes back with a -1/-1 on it. Because of Kaith, they can get a +1/+1. They get a +1/+1. They cancel out, and then you just sack your persist creature again. So you're just going to get an infinite amount of colorless mana from sacking them with Ashnod's. You get an infinite amount of death triggers because of the fact that, you know, the creature's just dying over and over again. Infinite LTBs, so just entering the battlefield over and over again. Infinite ETBs and LTBs, and then infinite sacrifice triggers. So you can just keep cycling through those the persist creature until you're happy with what you've got. I don't know, whatever you're doing, like, you know, you could do some crazy combos with this because of the fact that it's just dying and entering again. And, you know, you could have a whole bunch of, like, you know, if you wanted to create like a artifact deck around Kaith and stuff, you've then got so much infinite colorless mana that you could essentially cast any artifact that you could probably think of. But that's it for today, guys. I just want to talk about how bonkers crazy these kind of face commanders are. These are probably I think that honestly, these are honestly the strongest face commanders that we've probably got, in my opinion. Maybe there's another one that you guys can think of. Is there a stronger set of face commanders? Obviously, you know, there's been stronger individual face commanders like Stella Lee and stuff that's going to get play in like CEDH and stuff, but overall these face commanders are just bonkers. I hope you guys had a great day and goodbye.